video, we are going to talk about relationships. So how did you feel going into marriage as a young couple? I mean, not to say that, I mean, a lot of young couples are getting married now. And I think it's a wonderful thing. I think it's excellent. If you find the one that you love, you know you want to be with for the rest of your life, by all means, legally get married. But yeah, how did you feel about marriage before we got together as a married couple?
Marriage is always something that I look forward to. I always envision doing marriage in a way that it exemplified our individual beings literally becoming one. Like, of course you're your own person and no one can change that but you. But I always envision myself and my husband meshing together so well that to the outside world, when you saw him, you saw me, even if I wasn't there. And I knew that the only way that I could have that type of relationship was if he was my best friend first and it was literally ordained by God.
I knew I always wanted to get married. Never had a quite like ideal time I wanted to get married. But I knew, when it was my time, it would come forth, But I always knew that, that being married isn't easy. From seeing prior, relationships in my life that, you seen some that did well, you seen some that didn't work well. And I'm thankful that I was able to see both sides of the spectrum, So it gave, I'm not saying I'm wise, but it gave me the knowledge of knowing what you could do better. It's kind of like learning from experience, but not necessarily experiencing the married life for your own. But I got to witness, good and the bad, and I got to take things, I could do better if I were to get married, and things to avoid, and So it's all about learning process. When we needed to become one, that was gonna be my thing. When we got into a relationship, that was the thing that I had to work on personally. Regardless on if you're married or if you look to be in a relationship with the person, you're gonna change. That's just, if you don't change, you're not trying to make it work for me. To me, I feel like you're not trying to make it work. And I had to realize that when I got with Quan, she had to change also. And that's part of becoming one. It's almost creating one new person. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of the thing with being married. And like I said, it's not for everybody. We're not pushing everybody to get married, and we're not telling everybody when to get married. We're young and we're married. Not everybody wants to get married, but it is a learning experience every single day.
Every day.
You
learn something new about this person.
Every day is a learning experience. So like I've told a lot of people, every day is a gift from God. So use it to your advantage. Learn. Take that time to learn and listen. Can't just talk all the time. Got 2 ears to listen. You got 1 mouth to talk. So take that in. But I've learned a lot from Quan. Being in this relationship, she has made me a better person overall. And it's not just me trying to entice you with words, but you have made me a better person. Making me buckle down and focus more. And we are opposite. If you know us, we are
opposite.
Complete opposites. Complete.
I'm like this, and he's like, blah.
I'm like, what? One more time. One more time.
I'm the laid back, quiet, observative one, and he's, oh my goodness, he has never met a stranger. Ever.
Oh yes, I have.
He knows everyone. He will talk to everyone. Yes, he will.
Nah, I won't talk to everybody. Not everybody. Majority, but not everybody. Not everybody. So, what is something that you think you've learned from me being in a relationship?
I've learned how to pace myself. When I set my mind to do something, I get this tunnel vision and I can't see nothing to my left, nothing to my right. I'm just looking right at where I need to be. And I'm trying to get there as fast as I can. But because you are who you are when it comes to making important decisions and just being in the moment and living in that day, I've learned, and I'm still learning, how to pace myself and take time to enjoy the moment.
And not to say that tunnel vision can't be a good thing also, because that goes like I said, she's made me focus more, so she made me get the tunnel vision a little bit more. It's like give and take. Where she gave some, I had to take some of what she had, put it into myself, into my thought process, get that tunnel vision sometimes. I learned to be even more patient. Even more patient. Oh.
What this supposed to mean?
You know what I mean. I also learned that if I have an idea or I have a thought, you push me to go forth with it. Even though you say I'm this person, I'm out there, I do have some reservedness to me, but you've been the anchor to hold it down, and you kind of been the person to push me to step out of my comfort zone sometimes. That's only one of the things that I've learned from her. I guess two if you include the patience part. What is something you would tell a young couple like our age, as words of wisdom, as for not that we know everything, but words of wisdom of stuff that work for us? What would you tell the couple?
So even to our younger selves, I would say every battle is not worth fighting. And honestly, you just have to know what's important and what's of least importance. If it's important, if it's up here, go ahead and talk about it. You don't have to yell, you don't have to scream. You definitely don't have to demean or curse at each other. Talk about it, make amends, and let it go. But if it's down here and it's not that important,
do not let that ruin your relationship.
Yes, keep your peace. Keep your peace.
I agree with that. We all know this. This is something that I don't even have to say because I know you know it. I hope you know it. Communication is the key. But not only communicating, but how you communicate. So even if you have a disagreement, it's a way of going about, discussing that with your partner. You might be angry, but you don't want to rile each other up to the point where no one's thinking logically. Everyone's thinking logical. Thinking with pure emotion at the moment. But yeah, exactly what you said. Pick and choose your battles for real. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Make sure you evaluate what is important to you and your spouse or your significant other before you go into it. Kind of think about it. You gotta respect each other. So I'm not being respectful to Quan if I'm yelling in her face, nor I'm not being respectful to the situation, whether it be very important to her or me, and it's not helping me think logically.
One more thing, just to piggyback off of what you said. Just because it's important to you may not mean that it's as important to the other person. So you really have to be sensitive to your spouse or your mate or your significant other or what have you, and be understanding and try your best to see it through their eyes.
Me and Quan, we've been reading some books, relationship books. That's another way you change. Made me read more relationship books. But if you haven't read 5 Languages of Love, I'm sure a lot of you heard of that. Make sure you read that. That helped out tremendously. And other book.
His Needs, Her Needs.
His Needs, Her Needs. Make sure you read that also. As Pastor at church told me, for us, love is like a piggy bank. You only get out of it what you put into it. Giving her lots of love and affection.
And making sure that he's filled with those words of affirmation and boosting his confidence, and not his ego, but his confidence. There's a difference.
You always want your lady to make you feel good and vice versa. So yeah, make sure you do that.
So what is something that you would tell young couples or even your younger self?
I would go back to what I was saying. You have to be willing to change if you really want to be with this person. Be willing to mold yourself into this one person together. It's gonna be things you can't do anymore. It's gonna be things that that you might do that you didn't think you would do with your spouse. But you have to be willing to change and at least discuss those changes. If communication is the key. So discuss those changes with your spouse or your significant other. But I would tell myself you had to be willing to change. At one point I was very stubborn and I didn't want to change. I didn't, want to. It's not that I didn't want to go forth in a relationship, but I wasn't willing to change myself to go forth with it. And I saw that wasn't going to work. And by seeing that, how detrimental that could be, like that did. She likes when I use words. Yeah, just make sure that you discuss that with your spouse and see what can be given and what can, like I said, be taken, and how you can mold this one person that you're becoming. I like to think of it as you having kids or something. It's like you're you're creating this being. So it's gonna be parts of you that go with it and parts of her that go with it. What other parts of you don't want to go into this child, and what's parts of her, that she doesn't want to go into this child. But at the end of the day, the child's gonna grow up and learn from experience. But
right,
just like in a marriage
or any relationship.
Just what you put into it is what you'll get out though. Wow. But that's just my opinion. My little old opinion. But you have any more questions for me or anything?
What about spicing up the relationship?
That is another episode. So we'll see you on the next episode of Soul Together TV.
Bye, y'all.
Peace.